Greetings, Berkshire County. Thank you for joining us on iBerkshiresTV. Today is, what is today? Wednesday, May 6th. It's the first day of Governor Baker's mandate that you must wear a mask if you're not able to social distance in public. It can end up with a $300 fine if you're not doing it. It can end up with you not being allowed into establishments if you're not doing it. And in conjunction with that, the people from Berkshire Money Management over in Dalton are doing a mask distribution event tomorrow, and we're very pleased to be joined by their CEO, Alan Harris. Alan, thank you so much for your time.
Hey, Jeff. Yeah, and I feel your pain trying to struggle to find out what day it is. Yesterday was Cinco de Mayo, and I think that was the first time in 2 months that I knew what date it was.
If you're giving away masks tomorrow, first of all, on behalf of everybody, thank you. But tell us how this works. This obviously people aren't going to be walking into the office and getting masks. There's a very specific operation that's going to go on tomorrow at your office on Main Street. And also, whose idea was it? What brought it about? And get into the whole thing, if you would.
Sure. So we're not sure if there'll be 2 cars or 200 cars or more. So we're planning for more. Just as always good to be prepared. So because of that, we'll have a police detail out there just ushering people in. When people do get to the office, there is a main entrance. People can enter the main entrance. It's looking out the window, 75 yards up to the circular driveway. You go left, you go counterclockwise, and you'll see myself and a few other people out there sort of waving the cars in. The cars will come up. We have a Ziploc baggie full of hand-sewn masks, 5 per bag. We figured that'll be probably more than enough for most households. We'd rather give more than less. And like I said, we don't know if there'll be how many cars will come in at what time. So logistically, it just made sense to give people 5, and if they only need 3, they can find a friend and give it out, to sort of helping us be part of the distribution team, I suppose. We'll simply have them circle right back around, and actually the way they came in, with the help and guidance of some of the police detail.
And this is going to be tomorrow, Thursday, May 7th, from noon to 4 at 161 Main Street in Dalton. Yes,
and I realize it's a day past the order, but we just found out the order, so we had to take some time to get the masks, bag the masks. I actually had things planned anyhow that was really hard to maneuver around, so this is the earliest we're able to get to it. So it's a day late, but hopefully soon enough to help people.
It's a day late. You know, anything is appreciated, especially out here in remote Berkshire County. Sometimes we feel forgotten by the rest of the world, but we're doing well because of people like yourself, Alan, and your whole team over there at Berkshire Money Management. You're also doing something, and it's an interesting story because it got a little backwards and then you put it a little bit forwards, but you guys really followed through in this whole thing. You were doing something, and I'm just reading from my notes if I look like I'm looking off to the side. Hometown Meals for Hometown Heroes, which was basically providing meals for the healthcare industry from local restaurants. So you're kind of trying to boost both sides of that are being hit very hard, one financially and one just mentally and physically, with all these healthcare workers working like this. You started a GoFundMe campaign, and because of maybe it's an overload, a lot of campaigns going on GoFundMe right now. Also, because humankind sometimes being what it is, things went a little crooked. Why don't you explain kind of what happened there, but how you're going to follow through on it anyways?
Sure. So the concept was fairly simple. Crowdfunding, very popular nowadays. And the idea of crowdfunding came from the fact that when we're giving out masks prior to tomorrow's project or of giving out the masks, we've been giving masks all along. And people kept saying, I have things I want to donate, I just don't know where to give it to. Huh. And it's very similar where a lot of people have been bringing food over to BMC, brownies here and some treats there. But it was sort of unorganized and just sort of showing up. It turned out that we were able to get in touch with the right people to do all the coordination of all the deliveries, which they thought was great because it's nice to have a funnel system, if you will, have the logistics follow a rule. So a lot of people wanted to help, weren't exactly sure how to. So we made ourselves part of that funnel to streamline it directly to BMC. And we did that through GoFundMe. I've never used a GoFundMe page before. I mean, I've donated on it, we all have. But one of the things that was interesting, and it makes sense, is that if you don't withdraw the money in 30 days, they send it back to the donors. makes sense. I mean, if you're asking for money, you don't take it back in 30 days, probably something's wrong. I get that. They probably should have also made a change. Like, so there's a switch there, and in this switch it says 30 days. They should have wrote 60 days or 90 days or whatever it happened to be, because there's a lot of scams going on with COVID-related fundraisers. And people are great. People are generous. Not only the community here in the Berkshires, but the community of the globe has been overwhelming in terms of how people want to respond and help. So people have been giving to GoFundMe pages and other ways to donate. And so people have been taking advantage of those people. And GoFundMe did rightfully see that. The problem was there, and I was personally comforted to know it wasn't just me. There's an article at eater.com citing how this was happening to a lot of restaurants and what was happening. There was a restaurant who don't have to lay off everybody and go out of business. They put up a GoFundMe page. They got $8,000 or whatever the number happens to be, and they feel a little more comforted. But then all the money goes back to the donors because GoFundMe is doing a heavier set of checks and verifying that is the right person getting the money. And all the money is going back to the donors, so the money they thought they had, they weren't getting. And we were having that happen to us. Updated bank statements, passport, credit card, license, articles about me giving stuff away to say, I'm going to do this stuff. I've done it already. Stuff they weren't even asking for, essentially. And they just weren't going to give us the money by that 30 days. And it was all going to go back to the people. And it did all go back to the people, but we stopped the GoFundMe page before that happened. So instead of having $50,000 sent back, it was $20,000 sent back, or whatever the numbers would have been. There was a couple of really gracious donors who wrote some big checks who simply said, here's instead of my credit card information for GoFundMe, here's some checks. Prior to that starting anyways, we went to the Red Lion Inn and negotiated with them to deliver a meal a week for a month. So we'd already started even without the GoFundMe page. We put in our own $10,000, and then on top of that, the person who's helping me coordinate all that, we just don't even really have a budget now. We're just we'll keep doing it. The number of COVID cases in BMC has dropped dramatically. I don't have an official number, but I've been talking to people who work there. I mean, I'd be out of line to give the number I've heard unofficially, but it's remarkably low. And so hopefully they'll have the BMC workers will have some comfort in terms of ease of mind and ease of capacity pretty soon. And that was the idea with getting food to BMC for the workers, and not just the healthcare workers, because the janitors are there, the admin people are there. So we talked to the people who are working, figure out how many people are working each shift. And then we also figured out which shifts were often getting neglected, because people show up at noontime or for dinner time, but people working at 9:30 or 3:30 a.m. weren't getting things. So we figured that part of it out too, to provide them some level of comfort. And then, as you were alluding to earlier on, Jeff, there's other wins. There's the wins of the comfort, but there's some really struggling local restaurants right now. So we wanted to give them some business. There are some struggling employees of those businesses who could use a paycheck. So we helped them get a paycheck too. So it just didn't make any sense for us not to do it once we thought of it.
It really goes on forever. There are so many peripheral, if that's the word you want to use, businesses where you go, well, obviously, the restaurant business is going to be hit hard because they just have to flat out close. Maybe they can deliver. But when you go on down the line to their suppliers and the people that wash their uniform, it's the whole, you could start a GoFundMe page for any line right now. Is the whole country taking a beating, but it's you and your team at Berkshire Money Management doing stuff like this that are going to keep us going. And we certainly all appreciate it. I know the people who are benefiting from it do. But your life, I know that the money management game, people walk in with their monocles and their sack of money and they give it to you on a regular basis. That's your normal day. But now, first there was the panic and the market went south. And now it's steadily crept back, and I'm sure you're never comfortable with it. From a money management perspective, have you had that big meeting with your people saying, these are the steps we need to take right now to sort of stem that panic and tell people who are retired or ready to retire or seeing some of that pile of virtual money, at least that they have right now, fluctuating so much? What are the steps you're taking to help all these people in a time of uncertainty?
So a client, the answer is, great answer is yes. An investor's biggest question, and sometimes you have to drill it down a little bit to make them say it, but is it, do I have enough? For whatever that happens to be, whatever that goal happens to be, but it's usually, do I have enough so that when my time comes, I still have something to support myself. And enough left over to perhaps even give to my family. That's maybe a secondary consideration, but they just want to make sure they have enough. And so we go through that process prior to falls like this. And because we do that prior to falls like that, it's also very easy to do during, because it's a very simple update. I won't get into the geekiness of the software we have so we can visually show it, but we can visually show with what an impact of a fall might be.
Yeah.
For us, we're an odd bunch in terms of the way we invest. And in January and February, we'd actually purchased a lot of options. We call it a hedging strategy. So things were down, but not nearly as much as the market was down. So we tend to be much more conservative than other managers. So it wasn't necessarily that we saw precisely the pandemic coming. It was more like we tend to be pretty cautious anyways. So our conversations were a little tough on the education side because options can be complex, but it was pretty easy on the don't worry about it, you're going to be okay side. And sometimes it's just what people want to hear is you're going to be okay.
Yeah, and that really, that's what it comes down to. Look, this will weather, this will pass. And I'm sure you're actually, just curiously, your client base, very Berkshire County heavy? Is it from all corners? Do you have a lot of clients, say, lived in Berkshire County, not retired in Florida or Arizona, that stick with you? What's the majority of your client base?
We have approximately 650 clients, and about 150, 160 of them are within a 50-mile radius of where we work here in Dalton. We began the business with a financial newsletter, a paid for a subscription-based newsletter.
Huh.
And at the time that we sold it, it was actually about the 5th or 6th largest one that was out there, as I recall. And so because it was distributed primarily to affluent urban centers throughout the nation, a lot of our clients ended up being not from the county. We actually didn't start opening our doors up locally until about 2009 and 10.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of that. Somebody did mention your book. They have it sitting on the shelf, they said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so I just want to recap. Tomorrow, this is for all our viewers, tomorrow at Berkshire Money Management, 161 Main Street in Dalton from noon to 4. They'll be distributing masks in packs of 5. You'll be directed once you go into the driveway by all their wonderful team members and directed up and back through. That's tomorrow, May 7th, from noon to 4 at 161 Main Street in Dalton. The hometown meals will be happening if they're not already happening now.
Yeah, we've been doing that for, I kind of forget when we started, but 2 or 3 weeks that we've been doing that.
So those hometown meals are happening. So this is another in a long line of Berkshire County businesses that are helping out in this certainly unprecedented crisis that we're seeing right now. If you have any questions at all, how do they get in touch with you? It could be about investing. It could be about anything. What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Email's probably best. aharris@berkshiremm.com. First initial A, last name Harris, Berkshire like the county, MM like Mickey Mouse.com.
Alan, I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, and your team members. Thank you for joining us at iBerkshiresTV, and thank you everybody for watching, and stay tuned for more interviews just like this with local people doing good. Thank you very much, Alan.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.